Hello and welcome to week 3 in biopsychology. And here we are in chapter 3, the chemistry of behavior. When I was studying marine biology, I was very focused on the structures of the cell, the structures of tissues, animals' larger organ systems, even oceanic systems and whatnot in terms of the aquaculture in which these species lived. And as I progressed through that degree program, it became more and more apparent that everything was chemistry. Biochemistry is huge within all of the biologies, and even in I would say even geology, in the inorganic world, and chemistry is huge. Without chemistry, life itself would not be possible. So here we're looking at the chemistry of behavior, and lots of factoids here, lots of complicated science, lots of complicated chemistry, in terms of our understanding of what is happening in the nervous system. Things, because we're looking at this bioelectrical chemical system. So there's a biological system, there's the electrical system, and then there's the chemical system that all interact to create what we have as our living, breathing nervous system. And so there's a lot of information, to kind of digest, both from the course book and also, for further reading, getting into the textbook. For the discussion, I'm going to go a little angle. We're actually looking at the discussion about the effect of recreational drugs on the nervous system as a form of experimental chemistry. I bring up the social topic of harm reduction. Now, I'm going to actually expand this live for you right now. So I'm in the discussion, I mention, say, like methadone clinics that are being used for individuals who are attempting to control their opioid addictions, and the values and norms and opinions associated with that. So there's plenty of room for discussion for that. But just yesterday, I had a discussion with a person who owns a vape shop. He owns several vape shops, probably the largest distributor of vaping supplies in the state of Maine. And we discussed current legislation that's being put out to take away the flavored vapes. The goal of that legislation is because kids that are not of age to vape, 21, are attracted to those flavors, and just like in the tobacco industry, attracting young users creates maybe an ethical consideration. Now, this individual, of course, was not in favor of limiting that. His adult customers want the flavors. Other methodologies should be used to deter young people from getting flavored vapes. Many of his adult customers buy vape materials for their underage children. And it's because they would rather see them vaping than cigarette smoking. And here we get the phrase that he used, his shtick on this is that vaping is better than smoking tobacco. So this is a harm reduction component. Kids are going to smoke or they're going to vape. I'd rather they vape. Kids are going to, he even said if kids and adults, his experience has been when the flavors have been eliminated, they will go to the store and get food flavoring and add it. And that is not necessarily the best thing to do when you're inhaling things in your lungs, from his perspective. The the processes they use to flavor are standardized and they're safer and whatnot. Opinions on this thing. I'm not saying that I'm an expert. He certainly is and has done his research on that, and I certainly respect that. But we have another option here. Another option. You don't have to necessarily talk about harm reduction from the opiate perspective. You can actually talk about harm reduction from the vape perspective. And how does that work? There's a nicotine component, but it's in a different format, and it doesn't contain the 200 or something carcinogens that are usually associated with cigarettes. So there's a debate as well, and feel free to look up that legislation. Feel free to investigate that yourself. Feel free to reach out to your legislative person if you have a strong opinion about it. That is currently in the works and here in the state of Maine. This individual did reflect that he had a store in Bangor, and the municipality of Bangor went ahead and outlawed the flavors, and it essentially caused him to make a decision. He closed his store, moved it to brewer. It was that impactful on his business. He said it affected 95% of his business because 95% of his clientele, adults able to buy this stuff legally, wanted to have the flavored. So he actually closed his store and moved to another town so that he would be able to continue to provide the flavor. So it was rather impactful. But his perspective on this is he very much feels that this is a harm reduction perspective. He feels very proud and honored to be a part of getting people to not smoke. So you can entertain that as well, and you can debate about that as much as we want. Now, the Chapter 3 assignment, I'm making it a little different than just submitting something to me. What I've done is I've created a shared document online in Google Docs. I'm not a really big fan of Google Docs, but it's the best way I can think of doing this particular thing. And what you're going to do is do research on a over-the-counter drug, a regular drug. Go to your med cabinet, pick something. Every single drug, because of the nature of chemistry, has an effect on the nervous system. Baby aspirin has an effect on the nervous system. The medications that you're taking for high blood pressure. In fact, the principal effect of high blood pressure medicine is on the nervous system. And so to do the research on that drug and provide the name of the drug, the active ingredient in the drug that you're going to be looking at, a description of any pre or post synaptic, that's the detail I'm looking for. What is happening at the synapse? Are things getting clogged up? Are vesicles not releasing their chemicals into the synaptic gap? I want that detail that represents the effect of the drug, not the euphoric effect, not the cognitive effect, if there's anything like that. I want to know what's happening at the cellular level. And then a description of the overall subjective experience. That's that piece. What would somebody actually feel, either physiologically or cognitively, emotionally, those kinds of things. But make sure you get that third part. That third part is the chemistry. That's what this chapter is all about. What is happening right in that synaptic gap place. This literature is available. You could probably start with the drug itself, then you go to the manufacturer, and then you're doing Google searches, and then you're finding the information about what is happening at the level of the synaptic gap with that particular drug. Now, to submit this, rather than sending me something directly, you're going to log into a shared document on Google Docs. So let's go to the course timeline. And if you scroll down here to week 3, you're going to see that I've added this particular link. This is the shared document for the Chapter 3 assignment. All of you This is the Dropbox. Don't use that. Use this. I'll just be submitting grades here when we're all done. So go right here. You click on that. It opens up in a window. And this is a shared document. And you can type in it. I just typed in it. And what you're going to do is you're going to create an entry. The entry is going to contain all this information. The name of the drug, the active ingredient, the pre or post synaptic processes, and the subjective experiences. Put your name first, okay? Then the name of the drug, and format it. Don't just copy and paste. Don't copy and paste and make my document ugly. Format it so it's nice. And you want to put these in alphabetical order by your last name. Okay, so I can just go through everybody. So each one of you is going to add a piece. Those of you who do it early will have your choice of drugs. Because when you get ready to do yours, you have to go into this document and make sure no one else has done it. Can't have any repeats. It's got to be all different drugs. So some of you might wait to see how other people do it. Nice visual experience with that. That's great. Some of you are going to be right on the starting line. You're going to try and be first. That's fine. Some of you will wait till later and then find a drug to do this with. Doesn't matter. Do by the end of the week, all of you have to put an entry onto this page. So what you'll be able to do then is all of us will be able to see everybody's research. It'll be a sharing of our research among everybody, looking again at common household medications, primarily. If you get stuck and you want to do your medication that you're taking, that's fine. I don't want heroin. I don't want LSD. I don't want alcohol. I don't want any of that. This is the biopsychological effects of regular household medications. So off to it you go. That is this week. So we have the harm reduction, whether it's whichever one to do vaping or if you want to do opiates. And then we have the shared document, sharing with each other the research that you have consolidated together for this particular assignment. All right, so have a great week. I'll see you in the discussion boards, and take care.